I really wanted to dig into the force.com stuff because back then I was actually a force.com developer when it first came out. And I noticed you said that you were part of the inaugural launch team there. I didn't really actually realize that when we had met. What was that like to be launching that new platform?
So it started with just vision. I mean, the interesting kind of fun fact, Mark Benioff for Salesforce owned App Store, appstore.com, but we changed it to the App Exchange. Force.com was the underlying kind of name of the platform, and that was kind of what we call the APIs. But if you imagine kind of Salesforce as being this really almost like this data repository, right, for customer data, and you had workflow built into it, that was the start of like the ability now to say, okay, can you take some APIs and then allow either developers or ISVs to write applications that either integrate or sit on top, or could be a completely native application. The native application that was built 100% on Force.com. A composite application was something that would embed itself into Salesforce. You could imagine Salesforce as being kind of like frame, and you had like this application that sat in the middle. And within that, there would be kind of the movement of data and workflow that would, automate a process. So that was really kind of birth, I think, kind of the platform business of Salesforce, but also the birth of a massive community that today, is known as Trailhead. And there's, millions of people that bet their careers on Salesforce, and millions of people that have built applications, and, billions of dollars of just ecosystem out there in terms of all the successful companies that have formed. But it really started out with a core premise of like, well, Salesforce is solving a problem, and that is to allow for sales reps and for organizations to really bring all of this data in a single place for salespeople to manage everything from their leads to accounts to their opportunities, and for them to be able to kind of see how this all works together across a team, across an organization, connect with other people on their teams as well from other departments. So if you're a marketer, how do you kind of connect campaign all the way through kind of an opportunity? But really what Salesforce, I think, was really good at thinking through was like, there's a bunch of white space here, and we don't want to build all this white space ourselves. Let's have the community build that white space. So it's kind of like this precursor to like the open source, like in our experience at Elastic, is go let the community go build a bunch of stuff. And, we would have conversations early with ISVs like, hey, we're not going to go build this. We want you to go build this. We want you to go build quote to cash, or to go build like an RFP connector into Salesforce, or to build deeper campaign management application, build a vertical application. That was really what early days were like. But, you both have been kind of sales engineers and sales engineering leaders. The way we got this started was through the sales engineers. The sales engineers were amazing. These men and women were building apps, and were building like these kind of objects here that would sit inside of Salesforce as part of their customer demos. So they were showing the art of the possibles. Our first iteration of the apps in the App Exchange were not apps built by ISVs and developers. We went to the SCs and said, SCs, give us all the apps that you're building. Here's how you package it. So they were the test case. They were the try it before you kind of scale and run it machine, because there were hundreds of SCs out there building so many incarnations of fantastic demos that we could then showcase. Oh, here's an app for data cleansing. Here's an app for moving data between this system and that system. Here's an app that shows how to turn like a bare bones CRM into a vertical application for financial services or manufacturing, and stream different data in. We didn't use the word stream back then, but to have like very specific manufacturing data inside of Salesforce. That was a lot of fun working with all of these SC leaders and SCs to go kind of build this kind of app marketplace that today is, I think, a multi-billion-dollar revenue stream for Salesforce.
Chad and I totally believe that sales engineers will inherit the earth one day. So I love that you called that out.